Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com. We are October 25, 2021, and we have a coup in Sudan. And we care about this because of Ezekiel 38 and 39. We'll close with that section. Just to catch everybody up to date, Prime Minister Abdalla Hamdok of Sudan has been placed under arrest by the military. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has broken up the transitional government. A state of emergency has been declared across the country. Hamdok's location is unknown. Give you a little quick history lesson or a quick geography lesson. We'll get the history lesson later. Here is Sudan, located south of Egypt and across the Red Sea from Saudi Arabia. Got Libya to the northwest, Chad to the west, and again Sudan here in the south. This would be the northeastern part of Africa. The military has blocked all roads and bridges leading into Khartoum City. We've seen soldiers blocking access, and they are telling us these are the orders they got. They are saying access to Khartoum City is to be restricted. And this is raising concern because that's where the government institutions are. That's where the presidential palace and the prime minister's offices are located. And that's from Heba Morgan of Al Jazeera News. You can dig a little deeper. Here is the link, aljazeeranews.com, Sudan's Abdalla Hamdok under house arrest. Also from NetBlocks, this is confirmed. Internet disrupted in Sudan amid reports of military coup and detention of prime minister. Real-time network data show national connectivity at 34% of ordinary levels. Incident ongoing. And from what I've been able to tell this evening, internet is still out. And that's kind of a little trend seen around the globe. When some of these dictator types get in control, the first thing they do is they cut off the power to the internet. Don't let anybody know what's going on. Iran's done that a couple of times. Keep people from communicating, create confusion, incite a little fear is the idea. President Biden, his office has responded and has indicated $700 million in aid will be immediately frozen. And the following is from U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. He made these statements. We firmly reject the dissolution of the civilian-led transitional government and its associated institutions and call for their immediate restoration. The arrest of Prime Minister Hamdok and other civilian leaders is unacceptable. The military forces must ensure their safety and release them immediately. These actions have the potential to derail the country's transition to democracy and are a betrayal of Sudan's peaceful revolution. We are gravely concerned by reports that Sudanese security forces have used live ammunition against peaceful protesters. Security officials should immediately cease the use of violence against peaceful protesters. We also urge the restoration of internet services. And again, that's from U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Also got 3 different links for you folks who are interested in taking a little bit deeper dive into this from Fox News. U.S. condemns Sudan military coup, pauses $700 million in aid. Daily Mail, I got this from Checkmate over at valortube.com, this link. And we're going to look at some of the pictures from this here in just a second. And then we also got a statement from the U.S. Department of State, Troika statement on military takeover in Sudan. And we'll scan over here to this. So the Troika, governments of the United States, United Kingdom, and Norway, statement on military takeover in Sudan. And again, this comes from state.gov, an official website. What just happened here? There we go. Thank you. The Troika is deeply concerned about the situation in Sudan and condemns the suspension of the institutions of state, the declaration of state emergency, and the military forces detaining Prime Minister Hamdok, as well as other members of civilian leadership. We call on the security forces to immediately release those they have unlawfully detained. The actions of the military represent a betrayal of the revolution, the transition, and the legitimate requests of the Sudanese people for peace, justice, and economic development. The rights of freedom and expression and peaceful assembly must be respected. Violence and bloodshed must be avoided, and communication networks must be restored. The Troika will continue to support those working for democratic Sudan with a fully legitimate civilian government. This remains the best guarantee for the long-term stability of the country and the broader region. We reject this attempt to derail the transition toward democratic elections and call for the immediate restoration of the civilian-led government on the basis of the constitutional declaration and other foundational documents of the transition. So there's State Department's weighed in, and this is from, again, dailymail.co.uk. Soldiers open fire on protesters in Sudan, killing 2 and wounding 80. Prime Minister taken to an unknown location. We got protesters in the streets. Demonstrators overran barricades around military headquarters before gunfire was heard. And again, the Prime Minister taken to an unknown location. So hit some of the pictures. UK Daily Mail has great stuff as far as what's happening. Here's a good shot. Demonstrators taken to the streets, capital Khartoum, denouncing a military coup launched in the early hours. I don't know what he's doing. He's clearly okay with it. Okay. This is the current, previous. This is Abdalla Hamdok, the prime minister, who's currently in a location that is unknown. More protesters. Yeah, I want to find the general. There he is, right there. This is Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, country's most senior general, who had been due to hand over government or control of the government to civilian politicians in the coming weeks. Yeah, not going to let go of the power. He's going to dissolve that government. He's in charge now. That's what he's decided. So, good deal. So why are we interested in this? Well, before we do that, just a brief recent history of what's gone on in Sudan. So there was a coup attempt about a month ago. Loyalists to the former president of Sudan, Omar al-Bashir, they attempted a coup, failed, 40 were jailed. Back in 2017, Russian President Vladimir Putin invited then Sudan President al-Bashir for a meeting. He was asking for Russian protection against American aggression. So this guy was thrown out by Hamdok and the civilians. That was in 2019. Democratic forces resulted in al-Bashir being jailed. A new government was formed under Prime Minister Hamdok. And then 1 year later, Trump announced another peace deal with Israel and Sudan. And Sudan entered the Abraham Accords. That's where things get interesting. You look back up here, and if you think of elements of the military get back in charge, that's where Putin was involved. And al-Bashir, the guy at the time, was seeking an arms deal, grain imports from Russia, electrical industry assistance, and nuclear power for peaceful purposes, of course. Somebody's always seeking peaceful purposes in nuclear energy. No bad intentions. We're just trying to meet the needs of our people. So, And again, getting back to the reason this is being covered, Ezekiel 38:5, Persia, emphasis on Cush, and put with them, all of them with shield and helmet. And this is what Ezekiel's talking about. Russia, Turkey, Iran, and allies are prophesied to invade Israel in Ezekiel 38:39. And Cush is arguably Sudan. They may join ancient Magog or modern day Russia in their invasion of Israel at some point in the future. So, would stand to reason. I won't be surprised. At some point, things are happening awfully fast around the planet right now. If this were to swing the way of the people who were supportive of al-Bashir, he may end up back in power if they get him out of jail. And won't be surprised if some agreement support is reached with Mr. Putin and the Russians just here to help. And that would be another piece that would yet fall into place. So don't know if that's what's going to happen, but there's been some activity in Sudan over the last couple of months, and the situation there is unstable, to say the least. So something we'll keep an eye on. I know not a lot of people followed this when this happened about a month ago, but it still keeps making news. Our press is covering it in the West. I mean, that was from Fox. I'd pulled that one ad from Fox, and they had covered that. So that's kind of interesting, but I'm interested in it because the Bible talks about it, and Ezekiel prophesied about a group of people, Cush, ancient Cush, which would be arguably modern day Sudan, Ethiopia, that area south of Egypt, is what was referred to as ancient Cush. So we'll keep an eye on it, continue to watch it. Plenty of things going on. Just catching the highlights for some of these right now and then reporting on this on a weekly basis. So events continue to happen at a very quick pace. So we'll keep an eye on them. If you guys are interested, please feel free to share with others at PaulthePoke.com. If you'd like to follow, type in your email address here, hit subscribe, give you a notification every time something goes out. That's managed by WordPress. WordPress says they don't sell the email addresses. And this is categorized under PaulthePoke, Ezekiel 38, 39, and prophecy. So if there are any of these topics that you're interested about, click on them. We've got articles going back up to 11 years now in some cases with some of these topics. We've been around for 11 years and appreciate all who've followed along. And for those of you who are new, welcome. Glad to have you. Interesting times. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.